for most of human history, news traveled only as fast as a horse, a ship, or a pair of legs could carry it. Then, in 1844, one man tapped out a short message in a Washington courtroom and changed how the entire world communicated, forever. By the early 1800s, sending information across long distances was painfully slow. A letter from Washington to Baltimore could take the better part of a day. For a growing, expanding America, that delay was becoming a real problem. Samuel Morse wasn't an engineer, he was a professional painter. He didn't even invent the core idea behind the telegraph. Other inventors had been experimenting with electrical signaling for years. But Morse was the one who turned the idea into something practical and famous. It wasn't a quick success story. Morse spent roughly 12 years trying to perfect a working telegraph, and when he first demonstrated it to Congress, one senator admitted he watched Morse closely, wondering if the man was simply unwell, and other senators told him afterward they had no confidence in the invention at all. Lacking funds for years, Morse repeatedly appealed to Congress, and it wasn't until 1843 that they finally approved $30,000 to build a 44-mile telegraph line between Washington and Baltimore. On May 24, 1844, in front of members of Congress, Morse sent a message from the U.S. Capitol to his partner Alfred Vail, waiting at a railroad station in Baltimore. The message, "What hath God wrought?" Moments later, Vail telegraphed the exact same message right back, proof, in real time, that it worked. Here's the quirky part most people don't know. Morse didn't even choose those famous words himself. The phrase was suggested to him by Annie Ellsworth, the daughter of the U.S. Commissioner of Patents, and she pulled it straight from the Bible, the Book of Numbers. What could possibly be the most significant sentence in communication history was essentially picked by a young woman who simply liked the verse. The telegraph spread rapidly across America and then the world, and by 1866, a telegraph line had been laid all the way across the Atlantic Ocean, connecting the United States to Europe. For the first time in human history, a message could cross continents in minutes instead of weeks. And this is exactly what ended our last story. The Pony Express prided itself on carrying mail in just 10 days, a record at the time. But once telegraph wires stretched coast to coast, that 10-day record didn't matter anymore. Why wait for a rider when a message could arrive in seconds? Despite its dominance, the telegraph eventually fell out of widespread use by the 20th century, replaced first by the telephone, then the fax machine, and eventually the internet. Each one just a faster, easier version of the same basic idea Morse proved in that Washington courtroom. A failed painter, a borrowed idea, and a Bible verse picked by someone else, that's the unlikely origin of the device that shrank the world. Next time, we'll look at what happened when humans tried to do the same thing underwater, stringing a cable across the entire Atlantic Ocean. Subscribe to follow the story.